Steve Sarkisian met with the media this morning after Texas's Thursday practice as they get ready to head to Columbus, Ohio. We're finally here, man. Like in here in about 10, 15 minutes, you guys are going to be able to turn on SEC football as we're going to have Missouri going. And then right after that, a little bit later tonight, we're going to have Nebraska, year 3, Matt Rule. We'll see if that tradition continues here versus Cincinnati. So we're back in it, man. It's, football is here. And Sark had some interesting updates today. Ketchum also with an interesting note in his Truth and Lies column this morning regarding the offensive line and a possible late shakeup coming in to the biggest game of the college football season for week 1. We're going to talk about all of it. First, we'll tell you about the Man Eye Institute. 844-WOW-2020. 844-WOW-2020 is where you can reach the Man Eye Institute, where, of course, you see life better, whether it's their next level LASIK that you can't find anywhere else in the country except for one other spot, right? There's 2 places that have next level LASIK. Man Eye Institute is one of them right here in Central Texas. See life better at the Man Eye Institute, our presenting sponsor. Thanks so much to those guys. All right, Cody, we got to start out with this Truth and Lies column that Ketchum put out today. And we've been hearing this rumor. We've talked about Connor Stroh, the left guard, or who had actually been playing right guard, but behind DJ Campbell. And the fact that it's like, man, why does Sark keep talking about Connor Stroh, bringing his name up completely unsolicited, as did Arch Manning? What's going on with this? And, the rumors have been percolating that he could be possibly pushing Nato Yamuzulo. It could be a situation where Nato Yamuzulo at some point could lose his job to Connor Stroh over at left guard now. The starting left guard for Texas, the presumed starting left guard, Nato Yamuzulo, who this was supposed to be his year to kind of step into the finally ascend to the level of potential that everybody had for him coming out of high school. And now we're getting word that there could be something going on there with Connor Stroh. I have lots of thoughts on it. I'd like to hear your thoughts, though.
Well, I think first and foremost, the first thing I think about when you even entertain this idea or this train of thought of saying Stroh could potentially be your left guard is 2 things that I think of. One, he's taken the step forward, and I could believe that because Sark's talked about him feels like a half dozen times, maybe not that many times, but it feels like a half dozen times in the last
at least 3 or 4.
And that's a big deal. And I know we've talked on this show quite a bit about Nato and, no news is good news. It's the one guy we really haven't heard anything about for the better part of the last 6 months, which I don't think is a bad thing, similar to you. And then I think of this other thing where we always hear cross training, at wide receiver and some of these other positions and different styles of, at running back. And on the offensive line, you have a guy in Cole Hudson that's versatile. And you think about Trevor Goosby's versatility at tackle. And I feel like a week and a half ago, there was a little murmur that didn't really get much traction. But I heard the murmur of Nato might be getting a couple of reps at left tackle, with Goosby having the hand injury. Nato might be getting a couple of reps there. And it's all right, well, is there potential that this rumor of Stroh getting first-team reps at left guard, is that coupled with potentially Nato just getting work at left tackle a little bit and them cross-training these guys and just getting different visuals? I know it's game week right now, and this is now coming out. That's the difference is now it's game week. So if this is coming from a week ago, you could say, all right, well, I think they're just cross-training, kind of get final looks. But given the fact that this kind of rumor came out this week, I wonder if that's not just a pivot to Stroh.
That would make sense. I get it. I find it curious that Ketchum is in his Truth or Lies column, he grades this thing as a 2, so not a 1, which is a total and undeniable truth. But he said rumor number 1, Nato Yamuzulo is about to lose his starting job to Connor Stroh. He graded it as a 2, which is you think it's probably going to happen, but things can change in the blink of an eye, right? So Ketchum thinks that this is going to happen. I would be stunned if I saw Connor Stroh run out there with the first team over a healthy Nato Yamuzulo. If 79 runs out there at left guard and 72 is perfectly healthy, sits just standing on the sidelines, wearing a helmet, ready to go in, I would be stunned. I would think that that would be just most the most epic, just kind of dropping the ball, right, for Nato Yamuzulo to lose his job whenever he finally gets his shot like this. And Boy Ketchum says it's his rationale is that, look, you just haven't heard Sark say a thing about NATO all preseason long. You haven't, which is kind of true. And he says, look, and Sark loves listing naming players. He names players. You'll ask him about like his receivers, and he'll name 10 dudes, and like half of them won't even play in the game, right? He right he like he. I mean, so I can understand where he's coming from. I'll just say that NATO last year, we all know that he was just, whenever he started out, we talk about worrying about Stroh's footwork. It's kind of the same with Nato Yamuzulo with his balance, his footwork, his punch placement, all the stuff like that. But last year he did play 71 snaps. Now those were all in garbage time, right? So you have to take that into consideration. But he did allow one run stuff. He allowed one TFL. He had one penalty, but that's still disruption being allowed once every 23.67 snaps. Whereas you say, okay, that's not, it's not perfect, but it's about where DJ Campbell was. DJ Campbell was once per every 25 snap guy. Now clearly bigger sample, right? Tougher opponents. But if you say like, they talk about Cole Hudson, Sark has some interesting things to say about Cole Hudson today about, what did he say? He's a super blue collar guy. First full season where he's had the whole full off season to be in there with the strength and conditioning program, really coming into his own. Plays.
It's an interesting note. The full offseason thing is an interesting note with the strength program.
And he's going to need it because last year we just talked about NATO, again, on a small sample, allowing disruption, offensive line disruption once every 23.67 snaps. Cole Hudson last year played 249 regular season snaps as he rotated in on sort of a 66.66 to 33.33 rotation with DJ Campbell at right guard. He allowed disruption once every 15.56 snaps. One of the worst that Texas has had dating back to 2013. The only players who allowed disruption more frequently on a per snap basis than Cole Hudson did last year was Andre Carrick when he was a redshirt freshman, 15.5. Tristan Nicholson when he was a senior at 12.9. Cameron Hughes when he was a sophomore at 12.9, and then Tristan Nicholson again his junior year at 12.7. So out of 83 different offensive linemen that played at least 100 snaps at Texas since the year 2013, Cole Hudson last year, the guy who apparently has a starting job completely locked up, was fifth worst out of 83. So like there needs to be some improvement there.
Do you think with the Stroh and Yamuzulo thing, do you think it has a little bit, and I might be saying that wrong too. I've got some comments in the shows the last couple of days about saying Yamuzulo's name wrong. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. I don't know. But I think it's
Yamuzulo, right?
I thought we were saying it right, but we've got comments saying, when are they going to say NATO's name right? So I don't know. But the thing with Stroh and NATO, I wonder, and maybe you can answer this, do you think that potentially it's the classic, like, if the younger guy's even and he's grown this far, he's kind of like he's even, he's leaving, like he's caught up to him at this point. Why are we going to go into the season with a guy that's maybe like equal to or just a hair behind, but we can see the projection come to fruition? Like we could see 4 more weeks from now, we know this kid's going to be ahead of where NATO potentially is right now. So let's just make the move now. I mean, he is 3 inches taller, 15 pounds heavier. Like the idea of that being like a road grading left tackle, left guard duo versus being like you get through those 3 home games and all of a sudden you're like, all right, now let's make the move.
Why don't they make the move right now?
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe that's the play. Is the play now? You make the move now because you're projecting that in 3 weeks you're probably going to make the move, or do you just wait? Like that's where my brain goes, kind of like with the younger guy. Stroh's the younger guy. If he's even through camp and you can see the projection continuing to grow, do you just say he's even, he's leaving? We got to put the projection, put the guy that we can see more out of, or is it the age. Like NATO's got a year on him, sure, but what is that really worth if they're equal to right now? And you can see more coming out of Stroh in the next month.
For one, it's just a rumor, right? And we don't even know that he's even and he's leaving. One thing that I know is not a rumor is you and I both think that KJ Lacey looks like the better quarterback than Matthew Caldwell. And the reason why, if there's an equipment issue with Arch or he gets a hangnail during this game, the reason why it's not going to be KJ Lacey going into the game is because he, much like Connor Stroh, has never played a college football snap. And whenever you're talking about going into the shoe and you're going into Columbus, Ohio, I don't think any staff's going to be comfortable just throwing anybody into the fire in that particular situation.